This is Liz with Hitched Communication, and today I'm going to be talking about effective communicators and the 3 skills that they use to be successful. Anyone can learn these skills, and they can be useful no matter what type of business you're in. And then I'm also going to be talking about the 3 basic keywords that apply to every situation when you're trying to project information. And this is going to be the practical part of this presentation where I'll show you how you can actually put these into practice every day. So jumping into skill number 1, keep it simple. I want you to look at these 2 different slides and tell me which slide is more effective at telling you what this company does. So looking at slide number 1, it's very cluttered. There's a lot going on. There are images and words, and you don't really know where to look. You have to actually look at the slide for a few minutes before you really understand what this company does. Now, if you look at slide number 2, you see that there are sellers, there are buyers, and there's a technology product in the middle. Our real-time bidding technology connects sellers with buyers. Plain and simple, no need to overcomplicate things. Skill number 2 is to know your story. I'm going to tell you a story about 2 different mayonnaise companies. They're actually natural food companies, but their main products were a natural mayonnaise. One company was acquired for $38 million. If you look at the messaging in their story, it's not very compelling. The words are kind of boring, and then they're talking about being passionate about fats, and it really doesn't make me want to buy their product. But if you look at this other company's messaging, the one that was valuated at $750 million, you can see that it's a lot more compelling. It's more interesting. We want flavors that inspire and ingredients that thrive, delicious food from Michelin star chefs that is affordable and available wherever you are. And this is all messaging about natural foods, and namely mayonnaise. And so this story is really projecting them into a place that I'm sure that they probably imagined they couldn't get to at this point for $750 million. So the story is extremely important. And skill number 3 is delivering with confidence. So you really have to believe in your story in order to deliver with confidence. If you believe in your story, then your audience will believe you as well, and you'll be more confident in when you're telling your story. You also need to know your audience to tailor it. If you're going to be giving a presentation, for example, to a group of investors who are not very familiar with your industry, you need to tailor your presentation to that specific group of investors who maybe aren't familiar with all the terminology or the slang or whatever the acronyms that you use in your industry. And the most important thing is to practice, practice, practice. No one can get up in front of a bunch of people and just, naturally deliver a presentation without doing all the fidgeting and other things that humans do out of nervousness. It's human nature. You have to practice in order to deliver at your most confident. So let's now talk about the what, why, and how, and how to put this into practice. So for keeping it simple, imagine that you're explaining your product or service to a 5-year-old. How do you explain the problem that it solves? How does it solve it? Why does it need to be solved? So going back to the technology example, what problem does it solve? It solves the problem of sellers not being able to get in front of buyers. How does it solve it? It solves it through a technology platform. Why does it need to be solved? Because sellers have products and buyers want to buy those products, and there's no easy way to put the products in front of the people that want to buy them. That's it. It doesn't need to be overcomplicated. For knowing your story, the what is what makes your product or service unique. How does your product or service solve a problem? Why should people use your product or service over competitors? These 3 things should be answered in your story. And for skill number 3, what are the 3 key things your audience must know about your product or service? If you know these 3 key things ahead of time, you'll deliver with much more confidence because you'll know exactly what you want to get across. How can you portray these 3 things most simply to your audience? What examples can you give? What visual images can you use? Why should your audience care about what you have to say? This is extremely important because if you can convince yourself of the answer to this question of why your audience should care about what you have to say, then you will have extreme confidence because you'll know that what you have to say is very important. So the main thing to take away from this presentation is that effective communication through words and visuals is a #1 secret weapon of successful people, and that's because they have the ability to get their message across to the people that they are trying to convince of the value or the reason why they should be interested in their product. And so this is valuable in sales pitches, investor pitches, branding, marketing, messaging. All of these different things interconnect, and effective communication is extremely important. So I hope you enjoyed this short video, and if you're interested in learning more, you can just complete the form below and you can schedule a free phone consultation with us. We look forward to hearing from you, and stay in touch with us as we post new things on our blog.